Yeah, and if you told me back in, 96, that the then just released Mission Impossible would spawn this intermittent franchise that's still running strong 22 years later, I probably wouldn't have had much of a basis for judging, because I didn't see it until a few years after it was released. But to be honest, once you told me a third film was being made after John Woo's honking second outing, all bets are off. So Fallout comes hot on the heels of Rogue Nation for certain 3-year definitions of the term, with Thomas Cruise's Ethan Hunt and his team on the lookout for stolen plutonium, with the returning cast of Ving Rhames and Simon Pegg in support. Said plutonium is said to be passing through the shadowy network of the Apostles, a shadowy successor organisation to the shadowy syndicate of Rogue Nation, and they're going to sell it to the shadowy John Lark, a shadowy extremist lurking in extreme shadow. Hunt's team is being antagonistically babysat by Henry Cavill's CIA thug, August Walker, who immediately goes full-on moustache twirling to the point that I assumed there must be some sort of double bluff going on as to whether he was going to turn out to be the bad guy or not, but it turns out it was in fact a triple bluff, which is functionally identical to a single bluff. And so begins a series of action scenes, chases, and punching and kicking from point to point with the thinnest possible layer of connective ligaments. Now, I'm generally a staunch defender of action movies concentrating on action over intricate plotting, particularly when this film, in common with most other spy capers, is high-concept nonsense. Same with most character work. It's great to have, but I'm not going to let it get in the way of a high-adrenaline onslaught. And MIF, as I suppose will abbreviate it, just goes a little bit too extreme in this regard, and it feels like a video game where you're frantically hammering the X button through the cutscenes to skip to the next action segment. No, there's fast-paced and then there's too fast-paced.
Very sexy Discover Mole.
Yes. Maybe it's because I saw this when I was still a bit jet-lagged, but I didn't get any sense of character motivation whatsoever from the bad guys, and the interaction scene exposition was either rushed or forgettable, in as much as I can't remember half of why what happened. And of course, the correct amount of the returning Sean Harris's Solomon Lane in this film is 0 Solomon Lane, so this is well over the RDA for it. Now, this has been called, relatively frequently, the best action film of the year, and you know what, it might well be, at least from the slender subset I've been able to see. It's a good old-fashioned high-octane thrill ride, benefiting from Cruise's Jackie Chan-esque passion for murdering himself through stunt work that's commendable in an absolutely insane way, although for legal reasons I must point out that no employee of Fudson Film Incorporated makes any assertions, positive or negative, on the state of the mental health of Mr. Thomas Fullerton Cruise, Esquire, or his stupid religion. However, this has occasionally been followed up by claims that this is the best action film ever, which makes me think that either I have started to take or ran out of crystal meth. It's got some great action set pieces, sure, but not much else, and the final act is a bit of a drag, and as good as the fight choreography in the lauded toilet fight scene is, neither Cruise nor Cavill can magically turn themselves into Bruce Lee or Tony Jaa, so let's have some perspective on this, please.
This isn't even the best action film in the Mission Impossible franchise. That's the most... People have genuinely said that. That has baffled me, Scott. A ridiculous thing to say.
Yes. Not, I suppose, that Best Action Film of the Year is a title to be ashamed of. I mean, I definitely prefer Ant-Man and the Wasp if you're going to count that as an action film rather than
I was thinking exactly that when you mentioned that.
But it's certainly more than worth considering if action cinema is your bag or bag adjacent. But yes, people claiming it to be so outstandingly fabulous is kind of puzzling me. I don't quite get where they're coming from. The characters are a little bit cardboard cutouty. The action scenes are great, but why most of what's going on is maybe you need to be paying a little bit more attention than I was giving it, but it didn't seem to demand any attention from me. It just had stuff happening, and I was happy throwing that up the screen, and I was happy just watching it. But yeah, it's certainly not something that I would want to revisit particularly often, as I have done with many of the actual best action films of all times.
I was thoroughly entertained by it. It was a well-produced, slick action film, like they have been since it's sort of kind of reboot with Mission Impossible 4. With Ghost Protocol. Yeah, it's an enjoyable film. That's what the Mission Impossible franchise is. It's really slickly produced. They're very entertaining with really good acting, which is something you might not get in a lot of action film franchises, which makes a big difference.
Yeah.
They are, however, undeniably formulaic, and it's getting a bit tiresome that they have to...
Oh, Ethan Hunt's on his own again. Oh, what a surprise.
Yes. Not even just that, just like, oh, they're being betrayed by someone. However did they come up with that idea? And it's like, see this person who within 1/2 of 1 millisecond of appearing on screen, I had pegged as being the one who's going to turn out to be the betrayer. Turned out to be the betrayer. Yeah. I mean, you need to work a bit harder at that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I thought that seemed so blatantly obvious that I thought I must have been trying to sell you a dummy, but nope.
Yeah, it was too...
Straight route one.
It was too obvious. But it was like, no, also, what was going on with that facial hair? That does not suit that person at all. No. Maybe he just did it to mess with Warner Brothers so they'd be forced to remove that when he did the reshoots for Man of Steel. Oh, sorry.
Justice League.
Dawn of Justice. No, that's Batman. But yeah, Justice League, that's the one.
Dawn of Justice League, yeah. That's the one.
And yeah, because Sean Harris is in Ghost Nation super creepy and quite distinctive. So like
see, that people were saying that at the time of the last film. I don't get it. Just because he snays everything in an accent like this, I don't find that creepy, or not. It just sounded stupid to me. But maybe just me. I didn't get it.
I just find that not unsettling much. I find that unpleasant, and maybe that's enough.
I'm going to deliver every line in a sneer. Shut up.
Maybe it should have been played by Paul Whitehouse, playing one of the gets from Harry Enfield, as basically you've done it there.
You dirty old man.
Yeah, the idea of there being fallout from the actions in the film before, that's interesting, but I don't think they really did anything particularly good with it. And I mean, I understood the motivations of the people, but it's more along the lines of, they basically just wanted to watch the world burn, which has been done before and better. Mm-hmm. All of which sounds quite negative. I thoroughly enjoyed the film, enjoyed the action set pieces. Finding Simon Pegg's character pretty tiresome though, and he's in it in this film a bit less, which is good. And I like Simon Pegg. It's more that that character never seems to quite fit in with how everybody else's characters are written. It always feels a little out of place.
Yeah, he just always comes across as a complete liability to anyone who's doing that sort of work. That's maybe a bit of it. I mean, I know it's comic relief and all that, but it's just not funny enough to warrant him being there. So
that's fairly minor though, but because the acting is good quality, you've got quality actors in there, and that always makes a difference. Poor old Alec Baldwin getting real short shrift in this installment.
Yes.
No, that's a pity. I'd like to see more of Alec Baldwin, but yeah, for all that, it's formulaic, but it's really slickly produced. It's probably the best action franchise going at the moment. And it's entertaining. It's not special, but I don't think it particularly needs to be. It's not a Fast and Furious film. I didn't spend the whole thing like, why are people watching this? And I know that at the same time I'd be watching it saying that, so I'm the idiot. It's not, just there's nobody enjoying this apart from The Rock, and then in the last one, Jason Statham, who realise how ridiculous this is, and they're having a laugh basically on behind everybody else's back, and everybody else is terrible and taking it hugely seriously. Whereas this is just an action franchise. It's just knows what it's going for and nails it pretty much every time.
Yeah, it's a hell of a spectacle. There's certainly a place for that in cinema. So it's one of the better sort of event movie kind of deals. It's one of the few that you could actually watch and think it gets something out of being on the big screen. It probably would not translate all that well at home, but it's an enjoyable watch. If you've not seen it already, it's definitely worth doing so. But I'm not as blown away by it as other people have been.
No, it's solidly entertaining. It does leave me wondering though, exactly what sort of knowledge of Paris these people have, because Paris isn't a Mexico City or a Tokyo, but it's still a large city, and yet everybody in all the Paris sequences seems to be able to get to exactly where everybody else is and know where they are within seconds.
Yeah.
which is convenient for getting about a city, but I've been there and it's really not that easy. It would be handy if it was, but and if you like the other Mission Impossible films, you're going to like this, I would think. But that hyperbole about it being the greatest action film of all time, it's not even the greatest action film in the series or of this year. That's insanity, Scott.
Yes. Commendable eagerness, but yes, not accurate in reality. Right. This will take us in no way I can really be bothered linking to the next film we're going to talk about, which is Mom and Dad.